All right, so this is going to be a quick little video on how to run fire farms. Right now, we're in the Architect Entertainment Building, also known as AE, and we're just going to start this from the very beginning. What you're going to need to be particularly successful is like a capped out resistance at fire, and we can talk about how to get that and stuff and maybe another video. But another thing that you're going to want is above a 45% fire defense. This is a little bit overkill, but it really just makes it easier. I can space out a little bit more in my fire farms. So if you come in here, this can be a little bit tricky to navigate at first to figure out what you're doing, but the more you play around with this, the more missions you're going to find you like. Um, Brig is an amazing person, and he has made a lot of different farms that are really, really good. Because of that, I use one of his, the architect, uh, the mission ID is going to be 125, so you just put that up here. You can also search for Bloody Rainbow. That's just one that I really enjoy. You'll click play. Then this question down here, standard rewards, architect rewards. Standard rewards gives you traditional like experience and influence. Architect rewards gives you tickets, which you can use to buy stuff through the store in the AE building. But I'm going to go ahead and start with standard because most individuals that I know typically use farming for a couple of things. Maybe they use it to generate a lot of influence very quickly for another build that they're working on, to try and get up another farmer, or um, to get themselves or some other player experience. But we'll just go ahead and ask about available missions. To get this started, you'll talk on this. Um, these contacts are set by um, the person who made the mission, so if they look different, don't like worry about that. But we'll ask about available missions and accept, and then you'll see the mission icon right here. So away we go. Make sure all your toggles are on before you hop into this one. This one is very, very dense, so the doors are almost always hot. I lucked out today, but um, what this is just a bunch of mobs really close together, and they keep spawning. It's a good idea to run right to this Comic-Con security guard for a couple of reasons, but primarily he can summon some phantasms, which can draw aggro. Um, Aggro just means you upset everybody and they want to fight you, and you can cap that at 16 bad guys. Decoys down here that you might be seeing, those can also aggro, and they don't take damage, which is really nice because they can just like sit and hold. I'm going to summon some pets. You can get these from Mastering Eye Trials, and Incarnates is a whole other post game discussion, but they can make farming even easier or faster for you, kind of depending on what you want to do. So this is just my build. We'll go through this. This probably will only take maybe, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes or so. So nothing too crazy. But I'm going to drag this over here. But you can kind of see how quickly you can gain influence. I don't have experience on, but imagine that it trends pretty well with that. But now it's just like rinse and repeat. You may also notice that I'm in the middle of these +4 mobs, um, and I'm not suffering any consequences for that. And that's pretty much the gist of fire farming. Then you just rinse and repeat. You do this over and over again, and you can play with your build. Um, if you don't already know how to get your numbers down here for your stats, if you click powers, combat attributes, this gives you the whole list of all of your like stats. So you can see right now it'll cap out, and what that means is I'm actually above 90% smashing resistance, where that's the game's limit. and you can tell I've hit that because it's at like this teal color. Other resistances I have are not super impressive here, but this character wasn't designed to play through PvE. You can do okay, but you know, that's alright. Then you've got a couple of different options. This character specifically went for fire defense. You've got a couple of other strategies that you can use to max that out. If your build is more set to like the different types of damage, so like ranged, melee, AoE, so depending on what kind of attack you're getting hit by, you can try and defend that. For instance, the shield build is particularly good at using that strategy. But now you just, to get it to show, you right click on it and then monitor smashing resistance. And then it'll pop up with this little HUD window and you're good to go. So I'm going to turn on the jets a little bit and stop talking. Some other things, so if you're a veteran farmer and know what you're doing, there are some other kind of cool strategies you can use to be a little bit faster. One is, if you want to do this like the old school way, you can set keybinds to do things. So like this, you would type like /keybind and then whatever key that you're binding. So I've got it set to W. And then you've got all this, which says essentially like, I'm going to combine all of my inspirations into red every time I move. So I've keybound my like WSAD keys, so that way it's just efficient as I move around the map. If there's something else that can be merged, it'll do that. But the pay to win vendor, you'll see those as P2W. They're kind of all over the place. The closest one when you start up is going to be in Atlas Park, just almost right under the globe. I don't want to get the cardinal direction wrong, but if you're looking at Miss Liberty, it'll be on the left. Let's see. The reason that I bring that up is because you can disable, I mean, it costs a little bit of influence, but you can disable the types of inspirations that you get. So keybinds are a little bit less significant. I keep clicking or moving my mouse down here to this red. This is a macro, so every time I click this, I'll use a red inspiration. I'm not going to be particularly good at coaching you through how to set that up. I would recommend just trying to Google it. You may even find the actual macro written for you, so you don't have to do quite as much. Plus, I designed this like years ago, so I don't remember what exactly it is, but you can see what it's doing here. Yeah, those are little tricks that you can use to make this go a lot faster. Right now you'll see that I'm not set to have like a bunch of reds. Some people buy a lot of those before they run in here just to keep their damage up. For instance, like I really enjoy running this when I'm at like 500%. Then it goes particularly quickly. But yeah, you'll just see as I kind of move through this mob. Another thing that I'd recommend if you aren't familiar with this at all is going to be downloading. There's this very cool software, MIDS Character Designer, MIDS, and it's got everything. If you're trying to figure out like what kind of character you want and you're like, I would say it's better for individuals who are like more number focused. You absolutely don't have to pay attention to any of this. You can just like run in. If you live, great. If you die, make some changes if you want to. But if you really want to plan things out, particularly because another video will be about like what is going on with all of these invention origins. Like, there's a lot to learn with set bonuses and stuff that can really take your build to the next level. That's another thing too, is I wouldn't, maybe you can and I haven't just figured out how to do it yet, but I wouldn't expect to be able to do this without set bonuses. They really round out my character. Um, so those cost money, but you can like play around with those in mids and really get a sense of like how your character may perform on a fire farm. And another thing too is it's really kind of like you could have the best build on Earth, and if you don't know how to play the character, you may find yourself struggling quite a bit. And that's just something that comes with practice. You'll just run this over and over and over again and just get better every single time. Right now, I'm not trying to do anything like particularly special, but it's sort of nice to just be able to casually have like this conversation. I could spend time talking to people who are on the team with me if I wanted to. I mean, right now, nobody's here hanging out. It's also kind of a cool feeling to really introduce someone to farming. Um, so, like, they may sit here and they may ask you questions like, "Wow, how how come your health isn't going down?" Or "What are you doing to like do all of that damage?" And you can spend some time working on that with them. I mean, if you want to. I enjoy doing that. I mean, that's why I'm making a video like this. But um, yeah, so one of the cool things about the 125 arc that I've selected here is that it's set like an actual mission arc where once we finish this, it'll launch the next one, and then we'll just go for 5 more times. Um, yeah, I know I've been streaming for a little bit because I have not actually been going super fast here. Um, but again, you still get a pretty decent amount per run of this. And if you ever get into like a ton of trouble, or maybe you're just practicing something here, you just run and grab the glowy, and that'll finish this mission. So we've got this one guy right here. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, so you pretty much just rinse and repeat, and that is fire farming in a nutshell. Hope to see you later.